Okay Leute, heute nehme ich euch mit durch Moskau in der Nacht. Alles leuchtet.
Hey,
alles.
are you speaking German?
Yeah. How do you know?
Well, I heard that you're speaking German in Moscow. There's not a lot of Germans here. Or is this your first time in Russia?
It's the second time, but I don't really know Moscow. So, are you from here or where you?
No, I moved to Russia 2 years ago. My dad is American, but my mom is Russian. But I love Moscow, and it's always nice to see other foreigners here.
Would you like to show me some cool places in Moscow?
Yeah.
Some restaurants?
Actually.
Spontaneously?
Yes, so on this street, there's actually a Soviet cafe. Do you want to go check it out?
Let's check it out.
Okay, let's go.
Okay Leute, diese Interaktion war gespielt, aber wir haben uns wirklich zufällig auf der Straße getroffen. Sasha meets Russia.
Sasha meets Russia.
Und ich habe sie schon seit Jahren geschaut und jetzt zufällig auf der Straße getroffen. Ja, was gibt's für Zufälle, Leute? Also die Interaktion war gespielt, aber wir haben uns wirklich zufällig getroffen. Das heißt, sie zeigt mir jetzt mal ein sowjetisches Café und wir unterhalten uns über Russland. Wir sind jetzt angekommen beim sowjetischen russischen Café namens Varenitschnaya. I legendarnoye Café, da. But is it really legendary? What do you say?
You'll have to find out.
Perfect. Ihr seht, Leute, der Laden ist unheimlich russisch. Hier laufen sowjetische Filme, sowjetische Musik. Hier laufen die sowjetischen Filme, die Zeitungsartikel, selbst die Tapeten sind mit russischen, sowjetischen Tapeten voll. Also hat Sascha einen guten Ort ausgesucht. I said you chose a good spot.
Danke.
Guys, look what Sasha did. But it didn't reach our camera, so.
No, or our phones.
Uiuiui. Also, wie oft hat man schon die Chance, mit jemandem zu sprechen, der nach Russland gezogen ist, aus den USA und jetzt hier lebt? Und deswegen frage ich Sascha noch ein paar Fragen. But that's a cool first question. So Sasha got banned from YouTube for doing content about Russia.
In English.
And you're saying it was pretty much without reason.
Yes.
No, you don't do political content, you just do
Mostly
like
travels,
food, travel.
interviews on the street with people, like asking them what they think about Russia, like what have I asked? Like seeing if Russians would help me on the street if I only spoke English, like videos like that, or just traveling. Yeah.
And they took it down from one day to another without a warning.
Yes, no warning, nothing. They just took it down. I emailed them. I asked for my channel back. I did like the whole appeal process and nothing. So.
But now I'm wondering, could that happen to me? But at the same time, when did it happen? Was it like after like February?
June. I think the issue is now they're actually targeting more Americans that are filming in Russia because, as we all know, the elections are happening and they don't want Russia to be seen in such a positive light in the US right now and kind of influence the vote or something. Like they think I don't know, like. So I think that's the main reason why.
I think one role is also that you were quite big because as an American, you said 100,000 or even more. I think if you're smaller, then you're a bit under the radar.
Yeah. Also, as I heard from some of the Americans living here, the Americans didn't like that I was calling Americans to come visit Russia because it goes against the foreign policy of the US at the moment where Americans should not visit Russia. But my American father lives here. He's fine. I know a lot of Americans that live here and they all love it. So
Yeah. I mean, you have to see it in a way. There are single cases where shit can happen, right?
of course.
But not just because you're American or German. There's no it's not a high possibility that something will happen to you.
No.
Like you always see those single cases in the news which scare you, but they are not representative.
No. Be respectful. Like you're not gonna go to North Korea, for example. Hopefully you won't. But no, wait, cut. You know?
Even if you're critical towards politics, there are some people who are scared about the interactions with Russians as a whole. And I have to say, I never had negative interactions with the Russians because I'm German. That doesn't happen.
But even my father, who is an American, he doesn't speak any Russian. He's been living in Russia already for 5 years, and he has never had a negative experience with Russians. They've always helped him. They've always been like very supportive. They're just curious. Like if you're a foreigner, they're more curious than anything, and they will never act like negatively towards you just because you come from another country.
Yeah. And just for as a background, Her mom is Russian, as I get. Her dad is American, and her last name is German. And she's born in China.
It's too much. People won't believe you.
But what do you miss in the US?
What I miss about the US, I would say, is some of my friends that stayed there. But when you move around so much, you end up having friends everywhere, and you, on one hand, you miss them, but on the other hand, you know that like you have people wherever you go, like your people.
New friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I miss the music scene. Like in the US, they have a really nice music scene where you can go to like an open mic or a cafe or a bar, and there's a lot of live music. In Russia, in Moscow, like you don't have as much of that. So what I prefer in Russia is the mentality. I would say it's closer to my values, and basically, I don't know, like the Russian people, the way they are, it all just feels like more like home. And I also
Would you say in a more traditional, just more
yes,
traditional?
more traditional family values.
Yeah, in
things
the
like
West
that.
we have like a bit of a...
It's gone. So here I definitely feel it much more. I feel like families are more valued.
Yeah.
And I also like that in Russia, maybe this will sound a little bit political, but here a woman can really like feel like a woman. You know, like I feel like they're really respected here. Women are not afraid to be women. Like you can be feminine and it's almost like a strength. Like it's not looked down upon. And it's not like we're weaker than men. There are many women in Russia with high-ranking positions,
True.
but they're still feminine and they're still respected. And they can still have maternity leave for 2 years. So it's like I really, really like that about Russia, that women are placed on higher pedestal and they don't have to be like men to be respected.
You know, that's interesting because that's true. There are a lot of women in leadership positions in Russia. I think that's also a bit historically because there are more women in Russia in general because of wars and so on. And they always have to take care of business at home, right? Okay, let's make an eating break. Okay, so sieht das aus. Hier ist Borscht und das hat Sascha für uns bestellt mit Fleischfüllung. Ich habe schon mal Borscht gegessen, muss ich zugeben, aber jetzt probieren wir es hier nochmal mit Fleisch, allem drum dran.
How is it?
Неплохо.
Неплохо? Вкусно?
Ну, я уже ел борщ. То есть я знаю, что...
Как он нужен на
Да.
вкус, да?
Ну, мне очень интересно, как будет...
Пирожки.
Да.
Какое у тебя вообще любимое русское блюдо?
Мне надо сказать, это один вещь, который я не люблю у Руси. Типичная русская еда. Ну, мне нравится, но я не люблю как пицца, как итальянская еда.
Получается,
Например,
тебе
например.
просто больше нравится итальянская кухня.
Например, ты знаешь, борщ и пельмени, они вкусные, но функциональные немного.
Да.
Это, да.
Are pirozhki. It's a Russian meat pie. There's meat inside, but they can be with potatoes or cabbage or basically anything. But meat is probably the most popular.
Meat pie.
So,
Let me try.
how do you say bon appétit in German?
Guten Appetit.
Guten Appetit.
Okay. I'm scared.
Don't be scared. It's just bread with meat. It's good. Show it.
It's functional again.
It will keep you full. It's very simple. It's just bread with meat.
Well, it's really interesting. You're living here with your husband, right?
Yes.
And your husband is say again, sorry, I forgot the...
He's half Mexican, half Spanish.
So, how does it come that he's in Russia?
We met in Russia, in Moscow. 2 years ago, we both moved to Russia, and we ended up meeting here.
But isn't it like a crazy change for like someone who comes from southern kind of vibes in such a cold country? How is it for him? Like,
The thing is, like, he really likes the winter. I think he likes the winter more than anyone I know. And it's really, like, unusual for a Mexican, but he's obsessed with the
what I'm
snow.
thinking.
Obsessed. And I think he has, like, a real Russian soul, and that's why he fit in so well. And also, I have to say that Latin Americans and Russians are very similar. They're very, like, open and warm, and, like, his family came to visit Russia, and they met my Russian family, and even though they didn't speak the same language, they all, like, got along really well. In terms of mentality, Russians and Latin Americans are way closer than even, like, Russians and Germans.
I know quite some,
people
like Hispanics that are with Russians actually. A follow-up question. Do you plan to stay in Russia long term? Also, like, I don't know how you, I guess you also want family if you're more traditional.
Yeah.
If you have kids, where would you want to live, for example? Long-term Russia or USA?
In Russia, only in Russia.
But
Yes.
you're also Russian. That makes
Yes,
sense in some.
Of course.
But
I think
But no, again, you're like an influencer, let's say like
Yeah.
this. So you have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
But if you had like a Russian job with a typical Russian salary, do you think that would change?
I don't earn a lot of like salary through my blogging that I would, that even if I lived in the US where I could get monetized. Like here I'm not allowed to be monetized because I'm a creator in Russia. So on the like most of my income comes from more like freelance or side jobs, or like with my husband we opened the Latin American Chamber of Commerce because we're trying to build ties between Latin America and Russia and like help business grow. So I do like their marketing and things like that for them. But the only reason I'm here is not because like of money or anything like that. It's because of the values, and because for me, like I've lived all over the world. I was not born here, but I've never had like this feeling of home. But when I am in Russia, it's the first time that I actually felt it.
I have to say, there are a lot of things I like about Russia, but I will not deny that prices are one of them too.
Yeah, I mean,
Because as a German, for example, my blogs, I earn money with it, but I can live 3 times cheaper here, which is nice, I have to admit.
It's true. But
But,
also the salaries in Moscow are a lot higher than other parts of Russia, and I get a lot of people in my comments thinking that Russians here like all earn nothing, but that's not the case at all.
Living in Moscow is not necessarily worse than, one thing is your currency abroad. So it's hard to travel, I guess. That's the only...
And also tourism inside Russia has increased a lot.
I always say Russia is like 20 countries in one country.
Exactly. There's so much to see. Like you could spend your whole life traveling and not see everything.
And although I'm not traveling Russia yet, like besides Moscow and St. Peter, she's doing it already. So on her channel, follow her. It's really interesting. You're going to the Arctic in 2 days, and she will post videos.
To go to the Arctic and live with deer herders in the middle of nowhere for like a week.
Yeah, and the good thing is Germans mostly speak English, so they can actually understand your content.
Yeah,
your viewers can understand me, but
I'm going with foreigners. Like all the people on my trip are from Spain, from also Latin America. So a lot of foreigners do still come to Russia.
Yeah, that's awesome. So people should check out your YouTube, especially because they banned you. So now we have to regrow it.
Especially because they banned me. Show YouTube that they cannot stop me.
You're gonna be bigger than last time. That's for sure. I hope so.
And you can also check out my Instagram, where I also posted a video with Finn here. Yeah. Finn has to come back to Russia so I can take him on an adventure for both of our channels next time.
True. But you know what I always say? I will come back when everything is over with the whole situation, because it's annoying.
But you don't know when that will be. Could be 1 year, could be 5.
Okay Leute, es war ein schönes Treffen, zufällig auf der Straße getroffen, ein paar Insights mit Sasha und ja, irgendwann mal machen wir mal was zusammen, was Richtiges, aber ich denke so spontan war es trotzdem ein gutes Video, also wir sehen uns bis zum nächsten Mal, ciao.
Ciao, how do I say bye?
Ciao.
Okay, ciao, пока, bye.
Пока.